representing Mia Diamonds Entertainment. Speaking about
Yes, yes,
entertainment,
yes.
yes,
Big
yes,
up.
yes. Speaking about entertainment, I was about to say yesterday you brought up that theme, and we pretty much stayed on it for the whole length of the stream.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Daniel, before we get going, do you want me to send you the? Well, anyway, anyone who wanted to tune in could just go to CornerSpeak, find the live category, and you should see the stream. It'll be up there. Do you want me to WhatsApp you the link? Or you good?
Yeah, sure.
Right, I'll WhatsApp you that link. Give me 2 ticks. In the meantime, I'll hand the floor over to you, Daniel.
Yes, yes, people. So yeah, good to see you. Oh, well, I'm not seeing you, but good for you to see me, and good for you to see
And myself.
Owen. And we're just vibing this because,
That's what we're doing.
like I said, we're still moving on with. It may seem like it's random, but
Trash
we're
and ready.
actually just settling into what we're actually going to be doing. So, this is a lot of the little teething problems we get out of the way with this. And
Yeah.
basically, we haven't got many teething problems because Owen is literally has become the absolute consumer expert on what's going on here.
We have our
And he's
roles.
able to just like get this stuff up, and he can talk to me for hours about every little detail
And
of
you'll
what
fall
is
asleep
possible
after time.
of this
I go on
of
so long.
this of, of what we should say, what we shouldn't say. So trust me,
Yeah.
I've been briefed on everything that I should and shouldn't say, and what to do and what not to do, and how to make things happen, how to progress forward with your videos. And actually, that is something that Owen would actually be able to do very well, is actually guide you on exactly what to do if you want to start creating your own streams. So if you
Oh
want to
yeah,
create
the
your own streams,
tips.
right, he has the full information on how to do that. And yeah, you can just, just DM us, yeah, and you'll be able
Please
to get
do.
that info. Because what we want to do is start conversations with serious people. Yeah, we want to start conversations with serious people. If you just want to just chill and just listen and watch, that's totally fine. But you know, we've got some stuff to talk about. Like I said, we've got right
You
knowledge,
you
right
you,
wisdom,
you
right
mean like the people who
understanding,
Daniel, you mean like the
music.
people who hang out at the Mere Diamonds website? Those kind of serious people.
There you go. There you go. People who hang out
It's
at the mid. You see, look what he's done already.
signs right
Look,
up
look.
there.
I didn't ask for that, brother, but I like it. I
If you
like it.
need to find,
Yeah, it's the Neil Diamond's website. If you need to find yourself a band, a singer, a dancer, an actor, okay, a
yes,
comedian,
he's the man.
all right, a master of ceremonies, okay, we can do that. We've got some very bespoke packages that you will be hearing about bit by bit, but I actually don't want to talk about them too tough because we don't want people to be coming and
Well, that's the
imitating
signature of the platform,
our
isn't it?
originality.
Is that you tailor
Mm,
the entertainment that you provide to suit the particular needs of the client,
absolutely,
like a personal touch.
absolutely, absolutely. And we've got some packages that you will be surprised about. Yeah. So,
You've been told.
yeah,
Information in the description. MereDiamonds.com.
absolutely. Information in the description. So yeah, just go to Mir Diamonds, spelled MIR, diamonds with an S plural.com.
That's
Okay,
the
and
one.
CornerSpeak, and that's in conjunction with CornerSpeak. Owen, CornerSpeak, I call him CornerSpeak Nawadi, um
Already.
Wadi. I was getting there, brother. I was getting there. Yeah. Owen Wadi.
Gave you that little edge in the right
CornerSpeak.
direction.
Yeah, yeah. What's it? Wadi. Oh yeah, Wadi. Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
one. Where's those things?
yeah.
Yeah, just want to see what those laughing dudes are
Hey,
up to. So D,
yeah.
you come to the end of it's term end, isn't it? Like you got a little bit of time to divert your attention to other
Oh,
pursuits. Is
oh
that right?
man. Okay. So there you go. What I do is I'm a teacher. I've been a music teacher for a number of years, quite a few years,
Okay.
and then I moved to the. Well, they asked me if I could go and do it, which was to become the the supervisor in a room called the reflection room, which is a room for internal exclusion students, students who have been
Interesting.
internally excluded. Yeah, and you get all sorts in there, all sorts.
So it's not like the
And I also
Victorian
actually,
era where they put them in a cupboard.
uh,
Now they actually put them in a room with you. That's progress.
yeah,
That
well,
is
in the room
progress.
with me, it's like being in the cupboard. Yeah, it's like being in the cupboard, same way, because I
Discipline.
will deal with you. You ain't gonna just get away with whatever you feel you want to get away with
But
in
that's
my
what it
room.
takes
Yeah,
sometimes in this era too.
yeah, because too many teachers are very, oh, you mustn't say this, you mustn't say that. You've got to be so careful of what you say. And if you don't, and if they talk too hard to the student, and then the student starts talking to them back, they get even more paranoid and get very scared.
Daniel,
Some teachers, I'm not saying some of them, all
do you
not,
remember
but
this?
just
When we was at school, if you did something wrong, yeah, you was worried not only that what the teacher's gonna do to you or your head of year is gonna do to you. You don't want that information reaching your parents, do you? Because you're threatening of
you're
your
crazy.
parents hear you've
When that
been
reach your
ramping at
parents,
school, it's gonna
your
be a
parents will be saying,
difficult week or two,
your parents will be saying,
not just
and
a
you
day.
didn't clap him. You didn't clap him. Why didn't you do that?
But
You know what I'm
now,
saying? It's okay. I will fill in that information, that part of it. Don't
yeah,
worry.
but
But you can't do
now,
that now.
now it's the teachers who are probably threatening that when that information gets back to the youth's parents, the parents are coming to the school to deal with the teacher rather than dealing with their kid, which is what used to happen in
That's right.
our generation,
You get many
strangely enough.
slacking parents. Yeah,
Mm.
parents that have the wrong attitude, um and believe that no one should say anything in
To
any
their
way
angel.
out of order, or in any derogatory, delusionally, anything, any
Anything
bad words.
objectional
Obviously you should say,
towards their kid.
obviously you shouldn't say bad words.
Mm.
Okay, you shouldn't say bad words to them, and many different things that have come up from that.
Yeah,
And you have to be very careful, and
truth.
and I get it, because there are some people that, namely people, teachers, and so on and so forth, that believe that they can, that basically they would abuse their power.
Okay.
And if you abuse your power
Yeah.
by saying things to make a child feel small, then
Yeah.
no. But if your child is a child that is a little bit above its station, and and
Hasn't
and,
been
and
taught
wants to
discipline.
attempt to press buttons on you to make you, to test out their power,
That
to test
the
out how
boundaries.
far they can go,
Yeah.
right? Intentionally, with full cold-blooded, or what you call, what's the word, premeditated,
Hmm.
um discretion. Let me tell you something, right? They'll make you feel
I
they'll make
know.
you feel, I've been made to feel, many different types of ways in school.
Daniel,
Listen,
I've
year
seen.
year sevens. Have you heard of year sevens? That's year sevens to us, Owen, is year four.
Okay.
Is first year.
Okay.
First year in secondary school.
Okay.
We call it first year,
So year
second year,
seven.
third year.
So they've gone up to year six in primary, and instead of starting the
Yeah,
count again, it's like the American
right.
system goes to seven.
Yeah, it goes year
Okay.
7 to year 13. Yeah,
Okay. I see.
right. But and so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because our school goes up to that. We've got 3,000 people in our school.
So a lot of pupils, a lot of students, a lot of
A lot of people.
personalities to manage.
And when it gets to this time of year, which
Hmm.
is actually August, um sorry, which is this
Excitement.
is July. It's
Yeah.
July, going into the school holiday term.
Yeah.
Um it gets really intense,
They get
like,
overexcited. They've
I
been
can, yeah, I have a maximum of 12
like
in my in
patience
my room,
running thin.
and there's times when it's literally just full.
Wow.
People are in there for all different types of reasons.
It's like my
And
brother. He's in the same field. He tells me
oh, is
some
your brother a
stories.
teacher as well?
Yeah, he teaches. He's been teaching for decades now, and some of the stories he tells me is like some, especially some of the ones who think like they got this road mentality, and they think because they're in a classroom environment, well, a teacher can't they can't touch this, and they think they've got some kind of street knowledge that the teacher, because his teacher doesn't know anything about, not knowing that there isn't much that they think they're experiencing that very said teacher has lived through before there was even a thought in their parents'
Exactly.
genes.
Apart
So the
from
brother has to
some of
pull them up at
these,
times and give them a little
apart from
kind of
some, yeah,
street attitude.
apart from some of these student teachers that think, oh, I know, I want to be a teacher. All right, let me go and do some. Let me go do some teaching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
With that type of attitude, and they get in there, and then they get like a proper eye open awakening
yeah, because
when a
they come
student
from a
tells them
different
about
environment.
the mother and their father.
Yeah, they've probably didn't grow up in a kind of working class, kind of street-ish, urban type environment. And if they've come through, like a middle class, liberal, wishing, good on the less fortunate, we can just, if they just get the opportunity, they've had it hard and not quite understanding the dynamics. They can run rings around them, isn't it? Those youths. Mm,
Properly.
mm, mm,
Properly.
mm,
Do
mm.
not think that a child who's eight, between 10 and 12, don't
Yeah.
think that they don't know nothing, and they don't. Trust me, these children these days have a lot
They
more
are more wiser
awareness,
than their
and
age
and
would
and they
imply.
have a lot more body language,
Yeah,
vocabulary that
yeah.
can literally make you
Floor you,
cringe. It
you
can make you.
topple over.
They can work up your emotions because they know how to do these kind of things.
Yeah,
Yeah, they know how
yeah,
to work up your emotions. So yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's what I do. And it's pretty much full on once it's there. But the respite that I get is just sometimes there's one or two.
Hmm,
And other times there's 10 or 12.
hmm,
You see what
hmm,
I'm saying?
hmm.
And then there's a time when you can't. When I'm saying no, I
Okay,
can't have any more people in here.
Daniel,
Sorry.
just to kind of
That,
broaden it
that
out a
happens
bit,
every now and
just to broaden it out slightly, you remember, like, because obviously we came up in the analog era. I class it as analog digital era in terms of the major changes. We
Yeah,
came up with pens
definitely.
and pencils. The youths now growing up with tablets and computer screens. Do you remember? I'm not sure what's going on out there because I'm just in a different generation. I do my own thing, and unlike yourself, I don't have young kids. I don't teach. But the thing is, though, I remember there was a whole heap of youth centers and after school activities and things for us to like get engaged with creatively or otherwise. When you leave school in the evening, so you didn't have to just spend your time on the streets. Is that still the case now, or have a lot of those kind of you
No,
know those places gone?
no, absolutely not. As you know, I mean, you're asking the question, but I know is that during the Margaret Thatcher time period,
Mm,
which was the 80s,
80s, late 80s.
80s, yeah, late 80s, going into 90s.
Mm,
um, we had lots of youth centers around,
yeah,
and
agree with that.
youth centers were literally on every corner,
Every
and
primary
um,
school,
and we had somewhere to go. You know,
church,
we had somewhere to
club,
go and play ball, play basketball. Well, basketball wasn't so hot then, but it was still out there. Girls play rounders. Rounders,
even just to
netball.
meet up and get off of the
Just
street,
to
get out
meet
of your
up.
house,
We'd play music.
meet your
We'd bring your
mates.
stereo down there. You'd bring a speaker box and a record player and put it in a youth center. And then sound systems started up from that type of thing. Sound systems,
Yep,
and people would be really just gelling, and just because the thing is that school is not really for education. School is there to teach you, if you want, if you go there and know what you're
academic
going there for. But really and
education.
truly, school actually enables you to interact with people.
It's socializing,
That's
isn't it?
the one thing. Yeah, it helps you to understand what socializing is all about,
Although
because
I
you meet
would
the
say,
good, the bad, and the ugly in
what do you
school.
think about the homeschoolers? Because there's some people who've homeschooled their kids, or people, adults
Absolutely
who've grown
on
up,
point.
and they've come out okay, and they've been homeschooled. But
They come out more than okay.
I guess they've done a lot
They
of
come out
activities,
academically. They
a lot of
come out
activities.
academically on a much higher IQ, much higher grade than children who go through secondary
Because
school
what I was going
through
to
the
add
system.
is they might not get that interaction at school, but then they probably don't take it for granted. Because if they're doing their academic
No,
studies at home, when they're doing their non-academic stuff, and their parents take them on trips, or they're meeting with other families, other groups. They get their social interaction there, isn't it?
Yes, they
and
get their
and
social
value it.
interaction. They get their coming of age vibes there, and
Yeah,
also they meet other students outside
other
school,
children.
and have friends outside school. But
Yeah.
it's just not as intense. I mean,
No.
in my school, there's like I said, there's 3,000 people,
Mm,
and we actually go, and on our website we actually show that we go from 3 or 4 to 18.
mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
takes them right
there's
through.
many people going right across because we've got a primary school attached to our
So they have
school as well. They're all
consistency. They have they
so,
unlike myself, you went from a primary school straight into a completely foreign, different environment when you went to secondary school. Although I tell you one thing, they had a teacher in my last year of primary school who also moved over to the secondary school I went to. So that gave us consistency. At least the
yeah,
teacher you were familiar with. So they did think of those things. But I guess the system you work within, they've fully understand how it can be of benefit to like a youngster going from that primary school age, and when they get to secondary school knowing the environment, rather than just getting thrown into like, where's this, and having to acclimatize new friends,
yeah,
strangers, and academically, a more grown up system when you go to secondary school from primary.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What would you say is
Um,
the key difference between how we grew up in school, socialized, cultural wise, education wise, to what you see when you're
Today,
teaching
there's
today
no
in the
difference.
classrooms? No
Let me
difference.
tell you something.
Oh,
There's no difference.
really?
Owen, there's
That's
no
surprising.
difference. I say this
I
all
wouldn't
the
have thought
time.
that. Yeah.
There's new there's new things.
Hmm.
There's a beautiful analogy
Okay.
that I saw on Instagram where they
Hmm.
showed you a car from the 1930s, okay?
Okay.
And the car from the 1930s, obviously you know what that looks like. Big
Yeah, yeah.
wheels. It basically looks like a wagon
Giant wheels.
without a horse.
Yeah, without a
Yeah.
horse.
And then you go to then it
A
shows you
wind
a
up
picture
key.
of a school.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it shows you a picture of a school, and then the school is children sitting behind a desk with a teacher
Mm.
standing up there going, yeah, pointing at
Yeah.
the blackboard.
Thinking about it,
Okay, right,
that's no
right.
different,
Hold
is
on.
it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then it goes to, let's say, I don't know, 50 years, another 30 years, whatever, and
Yeah.
then you see another picture of a car. Now the car's looking nice. It's got beautiful headlights. It's got a runner board still.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they show you a school,
Okay.
children sitting at the desk,
Uh huh.
and a teacher. Yeah, same
Yeah.
thing again. And they show you another car now, like I don't know, the 70s,
Mm.
80s. Yeah, or you
Mm.
see the car now, it's got electric windows. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and different
Okay.
little things going on in there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
the car's looking, it's got some
Visual
nice little
differences.
electronic gadgets, and it's looking the business.
Mm.
And then they go to a school again. What did they see? Children sitting down behind a desk, hands
Same
up, and the
imagery.
teacher at a board. Yeah,
Ah, that's
right. Then they
interesting.
jump all the way up to today.
Mm. Modern times.
Brother, it's the same thing. The
It
only
doesn't
difference
change.
is now there's new things, but there's not no new approach to the
Wow.
overstanding of what
Who
teaching
would have
and
thought?
developing children like what
So
it is about.
you're telling
It's
me,
not about the way it's going on, because the way that schools are. But go on, say what you say
you're telling
first. Go on.
me what you've described is if you go as far back as Plato and those Greek people teaching philosophy and religion and mathematics and science and what's not, and you would get these images of, they wear the robes or whatever it's called, and you'll have the student sitting on some stone chairs or whatever with whatever it was they used to write on, and you'll have
Hmm.
the
Blackboard, isn't it?
Pythagoras or
Yeah,
whoever will have some kind of
yeah,
something like a blackboard that he's
yeah.
pointing to
Well,
information on. It's the same environment, isn't it? The students
Well,
and the
well,
teacher.
you're saying something slightly on a higher level, a higher echelon, because
Mm.
if you're talking about people on the level of Pythagoras and what those guys taught, even the Europeans, regardless, but
Beginning
they
of
were
schools.
thinkers, they were out thinkers, they were
Yeah.
thinking on another level.
Yeah.
But if you're just talking about the normal school structure,
Yeah.
or for the layman,
Yeah. I think
those
it came
people
from
who are
that.
laymen and women,
Yeah.
they don't have a couple of extra zeros on the end of their pay
Yeah.
or their paycheck. They
No.
don't have that. So
No.
they've been taught by the system, or the
Okay.
Rastaman call it the shit stim, to just be workers,
Yeah. Yeah.
just be sheep, just to be
Worker
sheeple,
bees. Worker
be
ants.
a good citizen, a good worker, a good uh,
So you're teaching the
um
students to obey as well as to digest academic knowledge. You're kind of squeezing in that.
which is basically
Be
what I'm saying.
obedient.
So a good, so an honest person, a
Mhm.
good a good student, a
Yeah.
good a good citizen,
Mm.
um, good member of society.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those lovely sounding words,
Yeah.
and someone who's good and honest, and
Hmm.
basically a white collar, a blue collar worker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got the white collar workers who are the people who
Hey,
have
hey,
gone to
what about the
slightly
manual
different school,
workers?
right? Well, blow the manual workers. No, not really. Yeah, no, but we need them.
I hear what you say. I
We
hear what
need
you
the
say.
dustmen. We need the dustmen.
Yeah, we do need them. We do need the foot soldiers. Seen. Yeah, we need them.
We need the dustmen. We need
Need someone at every level.
the shelf packers in Tesco's.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need the shelf packers in Waitrose.
Or the system
We
falls
need the
apart.
people working in Harrods. We
Mm.
need the waiters and the waitresses working in the Meridian, the Dorchester, the
The
Hilton,
dustmen and the
the
street
Hyatt Regency.
cleaners.
We need the street sweepers.
Yeah.
We need all of those people.
Fruit pickers,
But
farmers.
at the same yeah. So the way that things are, there's a saying that some of these motivational speakers say is that
Mm.
if you was to take all the money in the world and distribute it to everybody evenly,
Okay.
okay, within a year or two, let's just say 3 years,
Mhm.
okay, all the money would be back in the same hands, which is the same
Oh,
5%, because
yeah.
95% of people of society is controlled by 5% of
Yeah.
people,
If you're not money trained,
right?
you just
5%
goes
of
back into the
society, sorry.
system. Yeah.
So because people are very comfortable and through
That's the word.
indoctrination,
Comfortable.
like through indoctrination, like religion and these different places, they
Mhm.
tell you it's okay to be humble, it's okay to be passive, it's okay to be mild, it's okay to be good, it's okay to turn the other cheek,
Yeah.
it's okay to be nice. Yeah, all of these things are things that just cause other people to step on you, okay, in ways that really and truly, everyone wants to do good in their lives, and I don't care who you are. There's people who say, "Oh, money is this and money is that." Yeah, money is money is
It
just
does
been
make the
given a
world
name.
go round because it greases the
It makes the
wheels.
world go around,
Yeah, it
and if you
greases the
have more
wheels.
of it, all
More
it
options.
does, like that comedian said, yeah. If you have, if when you whatever you are, all the money
Mm.
does is enhance you.
Aha.
All finance
Yeah.
does is
Yeah.
enhance
Yeah.
it. So
If you're that kind of
if you're a
person,
nice person,
you'll be more of that.
right? That's
Mm.
right. If you're a if you're if you're a child, let's take it all
Get to the
away.
extreme, yeah. But
If
on
you're a
YouTube,
child molester,
we have to like some of the
horrible
words we have
child
to
molester,
say in a different way. So yeah,
yeah. If
if you're that type of
if
person,
you're a
we know
yeah,
what we're
if you're a
referring to.
horrible person, you
Yeah,
become more of a horrible
more of a
person.
horrible
If you're a
person.
nice person, a
Become
good person, you
more
become more of a
nice
good person.
and
If you're a
generous and thoughtful.
philanthropist, you're going
Yeah.
to be more of a philanthropist. If you're a robber and a thief, you're going to become more of a robber and a
So
thief.
it brings out
So
whatever's
all
in you
money does
already.
is just brings out yes, whatever your characteristics are. That's what money or finances, wealth does.
It
That's
can
all it does.
augment
So
what the
it
person is.
augments whatever you are. It brings it all out.
Yeah.
You know,
Because without money,
there's
you don't have
people.
much say about wanting to express your, ideas, interests, or preferences. With money, you get to express that because everybody's around you is
Yeah,
like, yes, you want that, we'll provide it. How soon can you get
yeah,
this for me? We'll get it in 10 minutes. So
yeah.
a lot of doors, they are open permanently or they swing open. Without money,
Yeah,
the perspective is you
you
kind
have
of
to
tend to
work
see a
for
lot
it.
of shut
You have to
doors
visualize it. You
and
have to
walls.
imagine it. yeah. Doors will shut in your face,
Different
all kinds
viewpoint.
of things.
I heard someone
Yeah. So
say it was on the Andrew Tate interview, and because he came from working class, humble beginnings, but he was schooled when he was in America, by his dad was a chess master, and I think he kind of instilled a certain level of discipline. So when he was in the
mm,
UK now, growing up in Luton with his mum, council estate, similar humble background like myself, so I kind of know what that kind of life is. He said, they kind of knew what it was like not to have money. So him and his brother, when they started to go out into the world and build towards what they are now, and started
yeah,
to get money, he could remember back to when they were gonna. It was a story like they were gonna buy a bottle of water, and it was like 4 quid or something, and he's like, damn, it's a lot of money for a bottle of water. Then years later, him being worth hundreds of millions, him and his brother, he's like, it's almost as though everything is free because he doesn't have to count. Somebody said, "What are you worth?" He doesn't know. He just knows it's in the hundreds of millions. If he wants something, he can get it. He doesn't have to think about what's the price because he's got enough
that's right.
money to buy it. But before,
Yeah,
when he was where most of us inhabit financially, you're going to buy something, you have to calculate, is that money there? If it's not, can you get it on time? You know what I mean? If you're borrowing it, can you repay that debt on time? Are you
will
going to
you
miss out
will
on
you
something
ever?
else? Lots of
It
thoughts.
depends. And when you say where we are, there's
Well,
levels.
yeah,
There's so many
of
levels.
course. But
You
the
know.
difference between the 5 or the 1% who, for them, the experience, as Andrew Tate put it, is as though everything is free because they can have whatever they want. You want to buy the whole
Yeah,
street? Okay, tell the PA or whoever, buy that for me. You got enough money anyway. It's not like, oh, you have to sell 15 cars to be able to get that. It's like you can keep your 15 cars and still buy that unless you want to buy like a large country or something. But in general, as most people spend, you go and buy clothes or new cars or a house. He's saying at that level, it's like there's no barriers because you can get anything you set your eyes on. So it feels
yeah,
like everything's free. That's how he put it
yeah.
from
You
his
can.
recollection of when he had to count his pennies and it's like, well, we ain't going to eat today because we just don't have that
Yeah,
money, to
yeah.
being in a position where traveling on private jets, houses in different parts of the world, numerous cars. All right, I want a new Bugatti. They brought out a new series. Buy me one of them. Doesn't have to stop and say how
Mhm,
much is it. It's just buy me one
mm.
because he's not going to
Yeah.
spend all the
But
money he
it's
has.
not just
So
buying. It's not just buying a Bugatti.
no,
It's also knowing exactly how much it costs to keep the upkeep of it per
he
year,
doesn't have to think
to
about that.
also have
It's
a
somebody
garage
else
to
thinks about that.
house it,
That's what he's
and all these
saying.
things. No, I'm just saying they
Yeah,
have all
yeah,
of that down because they
yeah, yeah.
have
It's in
they
the
have the
background.
experience of being able to do that for a number of years.
It's in the background.
So
Someone else does that. The accountant can
yeah,
sort that out because he's not going to get to a
if
point where
you
they're going
don't
to
have
say
it, if you don't
you ain't got enough.
have it
You can't
together,
get that. That's what he's saying.
yeah, if you
He
don't have it together,
he compares
then
it to
then
when he was
then
poor to now he's uber rich. It feels like he said everything is free. You want a bottle of water, you want to go on holiday, you want a house, you want two new
yeah.
Ferraris. You can just get it.
I'm just saying that people just think when you buy a car, you think, yeah, I bought a car, now I have the car, now I can drive
What you're
around in the
talking
car.
about, I think,
There's
is the
so much more of
transitioning.
it.
You're talking about the
No, no, no,
transitioning from
I'm not
different
transitioning.
levels
No,
of
I'm talking about the fact that when you buy a vehicle like that high end what you're doing is you just people just think you buy the car and that's it. But no, you
people
buy the
without
car and
money.
it costs X amount of money. People without the money think that you just buy the car and that's it. And you just go into the petrol station and just put petrol in it.
It's like
No,
buying a
you have
mansion,
to do so much more
maintenance.
than that because you also have to know exactly what petrol to put in, how to put it in, and everything else that is required to actually keep that vehicle on the road. It's the same thing whereby if you buy a house, there's the cost of buying a house, and then there's also the maintenance, as you said, that it's going to cost afterwards. All of those things are things that they have down, or
Check
they
this
have
out,
someone else
Daniel.
been able to do it
Question.
for them.
Question. Do you think Elon Musk, yeah, if he said, right, I see this yacht in a magazine, it's some new kind of high tech yacht, it's got a new kind of engine, propulsion system, blah, 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 everything's AI controlled, comes with a full crew, chef, captain, and all of that kind of stuff, bells and whistles. Do you think he's thinking about what does it cost to take it out to sea? What does it cost to pay the crew and this and that?
No,
Unless it's like one of
most
his scientific sort of, he's trying to develop something, then he's looking at those details like a new rocket, okay, we used too much fuel, yes, try a different fuel, developing like the Tesla. But for his own domestic life, when he purchased stuff, do you think he thinks about, I bought a new house, I need new staff I only stay there a couple times a year, I need staff to manage the place even in my absence and when I'm there. He's not thinking about what's that costing me. Do you think he does?
Well, as a billionaire, you don't get to be a billionaire without obviously knowing your finances. You still do have to know. You
Do
can't
you
just
think
buy
though,
something.
with the multiple things
That,
he thinks about running 34
it's not about
companies,
can I afford
he's
it.
I'm
I
not talking
think
about the
with
afford.
them, I think it's
No, I'm not talking
about.
about the afford. I'm talking about the delegation at that certain point in time. Do you think he's thinking about, right, he's having a big party over 100 people, he wants a certain nationality of catering, he wants a certain wine brought over from a certain part of Italy. Once he's issued those, like, I want that, do you think he's thinking about the details when he's got a team of people he's paying to do all of that thinking for him?
I don't think so, but
Yeah, I
because
don't
but
think
his character,
the wealthy
if
think
we're
about
talking
that.
about him, his
But
character doesn't
he's
even
busy running big companies,
cause
so
him.
is he got the
Nah,
time
that's
in the
nothing.
day
Like, if I want that, I'll
to
get that.
think about
That's nothing. I
domestic
can
stuff?
do that. Same
Yeah,
thing with Trump. Same thing with lots of people who have
yeah,
a
yeah.
particular
Trump
type of
doesn't think
character.
about
And there's a lot of other people who have a
Mar-a-Lago,
character
the domestic
actually
side,
being
or
very
caretakers.
laid back and low key. And as a matter of fact, there's many of them top speakers and stuff that tell you that when the more money you have, it's the less that you actually show it. You know what I'm saying? But then there's obviously people who are gonna there be splurting and blurting it out. But like you find that those kind
Two
of people
types of
tend to wear
people.
jeans and t-shirt. They don't
Often,
they don't wear they don't wear suit and tie. They wear
what I've come
jeans
to
and
think,
t-shirt.
is the people who haven't grown up and lived with money and suddenly get money, then it's like you haven't experienced how to deal with it. So that's where people
Absolutely.
start rushing around and not thinking about what's going to happen in 10 years' time. That 3 million
Mm.
they've just landed in their account, it's a huge amount of money. In a year and
Three
a half,
million
it
is
could be
nothing.
gone if they don't put a bit aside to
Three
turn it
million
into more money and things like that.
turn
People
it
who've
into
grown
nine
with
million,
money, they're not
but you
emotionally
have
in a
to
hurry
invest it properly.
like that. I don't think,
Yeah, you got to invest.
unless
You
they're
got to definitely
the
grow that.
few that there's always one that throws away the inheritance of 100 years of what
That's
do
how.
they call it,
That's there's
generational wealth.
countless
There's always
documentation
one.
of people who have done that.
Yeah, there's always
Especially
one.
lottery winners. Lottery winners are the biggest ones of them. The
They haven't
biggest
grown
idiot.
with
You hear
money. All of a sudden,
win
it's like
100,
excitement.
like 50 million, and then they lose it literally within 4 years,
Yeah, if
five
you've
years.
always
It's
had
gone.
money, you've observed how maybe your parents or those around you have managed that money. How maybe they, in business don't use their own money. They leverage their assets and they borrow money and use it to grow more money, take out the profits, pay the debt, and repeat the cycle rather than risking their own money. So if it goes
Yeah,
left,
there's even a way to do
well,
that. Yeah.
insurance will cover that.
Mm.
But if say you like myself or somebody who's just come into some money running a business and they haven't yet learnt those rules, they'll probably make, before they learn, if they get a few goes, they'll probably make all the mistakes that you could possibly make, just through not knowing another way of doing things. If
Yeah. I've got a client,
yeah,
and this client, he developed a tool and a car accessory parts. It's a big name, but I'm not going to say it. Yeah, manufacturing. He developed that to the level where he it became a multi-million pound company, and then
okay,
from there he sold it for 300 million. You know what
okay,
I'm
so
saying?
he done
And
well.
then he went and onto doing like other things. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying? And
yeah,
he's a client in the sense of I go and we perform and
mm,
stuff, for him and stuff like that.
mhm,
But yeah, there's people that have got it, and they just through sheer tenacity and obviously just
yes.
working at plugging at it,
Some people love
and it,
work. They love their
beautiful
work.
house. Beautiful place. Those kind of guys don't have to worry about anything anymore because they have the full package as far as
Yeah,
understanding
yeah,
how to manage their money. Like Michael Jackson, he's another one.
yeah.
He left owning half of Sony, as everybody knows,
He
most
was
people
earning
know.
400 and something million before he passed away. Some huge monthly, millions repayment every month. Although I don't think he's stressed about it. I heard when about him going to Ireland to that river dance guys, like his ranch and with his kids, and just went slightly off the grid for around a year and just lived. With all of that. If I had owed 400 something million, the pressure of that, I probably wouldn't even open my eyes in the morning. But he's been
Mm,
around money, making it, losing it, making it, losing it over time. So I guess he sees it in a different way. And he knew his value that,
absolutely.
even though he was in
And
debt, he
he
had
knew the value
assets.
of records. He knew the value of the assets,
Well,
because obviously,
the
the Beatles.
catalog he owned,
He bought the whole of Sony's
that
catalog.
was,
He owned half of Sony,
from my
and
understanding,
they
yeah, I
didn't
heard
like
that.
that.
Half of Sony's value. And they wanted to get
Yeah,
that back. So, there was the
they wanted
rumor,
that back.
even from his lips, that he was saying that he
Tony
he
Morella is a devil.
he believed they were gonna unalive him to get access to his catalog. And the funny twist is, it was a corporate doctor that was overseeing him when things kind of went wrong. And in his estate, I think, his estate inherited the catalog and sold it to Sony. So his kind of prophecy came to pass because they got the catalog in his passing. Excuse me.
Well,
So it's
there
kind
you
of he
go.
predicted it.
There's a controversy. There's a whole controversy around all of that. It's all
But
hearsay,
his children
but
are
at the end
good.
of the day,
His children are
it
good. The
looks
estate would feed them for
it
generations.
looks like it's real.
Mm,
The
mm,
controversy that happened because
mm,
he called someone like a devil, and
mm.
then shortly after that, I mean, within months, he was
Have
no
you heard
longer with
Chaka
us.
Khan describe people in the industry? There's a few of them who they've grown up in the industry. They've stayed at that
And they know,
altitude of success for a long time, and they have
yeah,
got a lot of unpleasant things to say about the people who run the actual, corporate music
because
industry.
unfortunately, the people that frequent the entire entertainment business,
Yeah.
um they're all blood sucking. They're all people that
It's
are
10 o'clock.
after
Well,
what you call talent, and those people are all a particular
the artists are
race
talent,
of people.
isn't it?
That
They are talent.
they're all a particular race of people, and this is
Yep.
what like
That we
P Diddy,
know.
not P Diddy, and what's his name,
Yeah.
um
What's his name? Kanye West
Kanye
got himself
Kanye
into a
West.
little bit of a
They're all Jews. He
over.
said that they're all Jews. I mean, he said it, and many top people have
Well,
said it,
yeah,
and they are.
on yeah,
Those
they
who
are.
run the entertainment, they run the
Yeah, kind of
news,
on
they run the
YouTube,
media,
we kind of
they
like
run they
phrase
run
a
the
D
film industry.
certain words we phrase in a certain way on YouTube because they
Yeah,
have a habit of I mean, look, yeah, we say what we need to say. Although I've noticed they have a habit of what's we call it, certain words when they ping up,
censoring certain words. Yeah,
yeah,
censoring.
or kind of
At the end of the
you know,
day,
so
it's just
we'll
news.
develop
It's
our
just
code.
natural. It's just natural. It's not something that is hidden. It's something that's out in the open. But they like to hide the truth in plain sight. So it's not. This is just simply what it is. It's the same people that run the entirety of the information and the age that we're living in. It's the same particular type and race of people. That's it. I'm not going to
Well,
go in there any
the
further.
world's generally being it's kind of like, yeah, you could go back 300-400 years and you probably run into the same people in similar roles. I mean, handling their business.
Yeah.
Funny take, but
So
remember though, sidetrack, Massa Musa. Remember Massa Musa? He's still
Masamusa,
to date,
who
from what
crushed
I
the economy in
understand,
everywhere he went.
he still owned the most gold to date on the planet as a African
Yeah,
king.
he broke the economy
That's
everywhere he went. He traveled.
yeah,
But
that
what
is
I
with
want to know
thousands of
is,
people.
how in heaven, in the Most High's name, did he travel with so much blasted gold,
Well,
right?
look at it this
Everywhere
way.
he went, with
Look at
hundreds of thousands of people, and crashing the economy everywhere he went.
look at
It's
the
just amazing. Just to
think
think
about the
about that.
Gauls, yeah, when there was the migration, hundreds and thousands of them moving further into Rome's territory, and Rome, tried to meet them in certain locations to push them back. They were looking for fresh pastures, land somewhere to set up house and home for their families. and they had to war their way towards finding somewhere suitable. The Vikings, a similar story, with migrating to parts of England and Ireland, as it so happened. What's the other group? The guy who was running things for a while, had the biggest empire. The guy who fought the Chinese and the Russians, the Mongols. Yeah, what is it? Genghis Khan.
Mongrels,
Genghis Khan. Now,
Genghis
if
Khan,
you
yeah.
look at some stories about how he traveled with his armies, so they needed people to feed them. They needed the horses. There was a horse people anyway. They needed cattle or whatever. It's like a city on the move constantly, and then they'll war with somebody in the on the path of wherever they're journeying to, and it will get bigger and bigger. Like what do they call a tornado? So when I think of the Masa Musa, I guess it was like that. That was just like, you know what I mean? You see a dust storm in the distance, then you realize it's a bunch of people moving across the
Yeah,
savannah en masse, stretching from here to like, North London or something. And you probably don't want to
yeah.
be at the back of that troop. It's very interesting.
Yeah, well, I don't know enough about all of that, and I'm not really
I know
interested
bits.
in
I
what
know bits.
Romans and all of these different people are interested.
It's
I'm
just history and
interested
migration.
in because history is his story,
Well, it's the
okay?
victor. It's the victor
His
story.
and his
If you
story,
win, you're not telling
not
my
my
story.
story,
You're saying what you want to say. If I win, I'm not saying what you would like me to say. I'm telling it how I want to tell it. So it's always the
and
victor's
my
story.
story, and my story is a mystery. My story is a mystery, yeah, and his story is history. But we're even leaving out her story, which is her story, history, which is her story,
I just think
and
it's
just
it's
putting
man,
his
it's
story in the
humankind,
place of her story,
humankind
and leaving out our story, which
telling their
is
tales.
so I like to, let's
I know
tell
you like to do
everybody's
the
story.
play on words. I go
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to
well,
thinking it's all
it doesn't.
humankind. I'll go as far as say
It's
I'm a believer in the world mind, as in,
mhm,
over generations, don't matter which part of the globe you are, there's certain knowledge
mhm,
that, it just
yeah.
kind of migrates through each era, and everybody kind of has some kind of access to it. Some people more access to others. Obviously, academics have a lot more
Well,
access to
every
the
time
academic
I totally agree
world
with
book.
you. But every time I delve into mystery, which is my story, yeah, I find places where it's been covered over, covered up, blocked, destroyed,
That's the game of history.
massacred,
Everyone wants to
murdered.
tell it in their way.
So, yeah, but the only one that's been wiped out and destroyed and massacred more than any others is my ancestry. Okay,
Hmm.
so if my ancestry was allowed to actually develop and be fully in and part of the world, which it is, but it's undercover, the world would be a completely different place right now. But
Well, check this out,
right
Daniel.
now, these are the things that are showing me who's running things. It's showing me who's running what, and at the end of the day, I can run things as well. Not just you running things, I can
Well,
run things too.
there's something I started to kind of like sort of take to a while back in terms of my partial worldview, is in terms of, when people say, well, look, you're kind of taking an activist stance about this particular thing. What about that particular thing? And what about that thing? What about people starving in that part of the world? So how can you eat this big meal and stuff like that? So I've kind of adopted this belief of, if before I can change the world externally, I have to be able to deal with the world that I have around me and wake up to. And if I'm not even being able to affect change in, the closest, the things I have closest access to, then I ain't going to be any more successful reaching out
No, get it.
miles away. So it's like, if I can fix myself, then in a very minute way, that's how I'll be contributing to the wider um humanity. That's just
Fair
my
enough.
stance.
That's the way you do it.
I
But
want to drop something
if
though before you
keeping
come in, Daniel,
I'm
on
keeping it
mystery,
real,
just for the viewers. I just want to drop, because I like to sort of try and fact check some of these things as best as we can. So the the
Go ahead. I
it's
like to
probably
deal
not
with right
clear.
knowledge,
The
right
definition,
wisdom, right
okay,
understanding.
I hear that. I hear that. So the dictionary definition of mystery is something like something that is difficult or impossible to understand or explain.
Understand. That's right.
So,
Yes.
people can weigh that up and as we do and come to our own conclusions. But some of the
Hmm.
time when we're discussing stuff, I'm gonna try and, just Google something, pull it up and throw it out there. Doesn't mean
Good.
I believe that necessarily, but that's
Good. No
in the culture
problem.
we're living in,
We
dictionary
could go
definition.
there. We can go there because I don't just talk out of me my backside as some people as it can be said. Not people not saying that about me. I'm saying I don't just do that. I've
Yeah.
done research on levels,
Yeah.
and where I am coming from right now is a point of view of this is why I say overstanding,
Hmm.
because it depends on who your teacher is. It depends on how you've been taught, because you have to learn to learn. You have to learn how to work things out. You have to learn to be able to think correctly. Yeah. This is why I say right knowledge, right wisdom, and right overstanding, or not understanding. Doesn't mean that the word understanding is not a word that's used. It's used in the English language, but then the English language comes from, we know where the English language comes from: Old Greek, Old French, Latin, and many other languages. It's made up from many other languages. But I'm just saying that, and in other languages, it doesn't have any of the language issues that we have in English. You know what I'm saying? Because, for instance, just as a quick note, in African, in certain African languages, there
And
is
there's so
no
many of them,
word for
thousands.
accident. There's thousands of them. There's no word for accident. Yeah, there's no word for accident. There's so on the news, if the newsreader's reading the news, they say, well, there was a bang, there was a crash, there was an explosion, there was yeah. They don't say that because the word accident doesn't exist. Because, and then what I know now from my overstanding, from checking things out, that there's no such thing as an accident. Yeah, you didn't plan to get into that crash, but it happened. And because it happened, that's how nature planned it. No matter what you want to say. Now people say, "Oh yeah, why are you saying that?" Because no, it didn't. It wasn't meant to happen. It just happened. But hold on, now it has happened, right? Now it has happened, and what? So was it not meant to happen, or was it meant to happen? If it
I,
was meant to happen, if it wasn't meant to happen, then it would not have happened. But
okay,
it
that's the way to
happened,
break it
which
down.
means that which means that which means that it was meant to actually happen. Because if it wasn't meant to, and guess what, just out of that comes so much positivity, no matter how bad the situation is. Because when you find people that actually go through traumatic situations, it's only preparing them in many ways to become better human beings, or the people around them to be to get a greater awareness, and so many other things that go with it that we haven't got time to go
I
into
see
right now.
language largely as
Because
descriptive. It's a way to describe what we see around us
Mhm.
and sometimes what we imagine, which,
Yeah,
internally.
language is there to help to describe things, but the deity Tahuti, okay, or which the Greeks call Thoth, was the god of writing and the written word. Before that, we used to communicate via. This is just what I, by the way, my
Believe.
research and my understanding, my understanding to leads, which led me to overstanding. Um, I don't deal in belief. I deal in knowing, finding out. Yeah, that's me personally. But
Well,
so the
again,
word,
it's
because
language, isn't it? Because you
the
could
word
say,
belief can
okay,
infer doubt.
if you've experienced something for yourself and then you
Yeah,
believe that that is the case, then again, it's words as descriptions of an experience. If you experience something for yourself and you said, well, you know what, when I stand in 2 feet of water and my feet are hitting the bottom of the pool or whatever it is, I'm not fully, sort of, I'm not, there's no risk of me drowning in 2 feet
and
because I'm taller than 2 feet. So, you're going to believe that, you know, if somebody maybe, I mean, it's a kind of stupid analogy. probably could come up
It's
with a better
okay.
one.
There's lots of
If
analogies.
it's something,
Just
if it's
carry
something
on.
that somebody hadn't experienced for themselves, so they're yet to sort
Yeah.
of test it out, then
Hmm.
maybe they might intellectually say, yeah, it makes sense, but you know what? I ain't really experienced that for myself, so the jury's gonna be out until I get to confirm that for myself. So belief, I mean, just taking it as a, you know, dictionary term or whatever, dictionary or descriptive word, I kind of think it comes after you've sort of proven something to yourself, or you've verified an
Word,
experience to yourself. If you're somebody who likes to confirm things through your own experiences,
okay.
a lot of people
Look
are
up the
happy
word
just
belief. Look
to
up the word
like,
belief.
okay,
Okay, and you'll see that it's where you have an unshakable um what's the word, acceptance of something without any proof of fact. Yeah, but there's no
okay,
proof that it's actually
it's
real,
just based
but
on faith.
you it's based on faith. But faith is also something different. But
Okay,
we're dealing with belief.
and
Okay, so
acceptance that something exists,
acceptance that
or
something
I'll just
exists
read out the definition,
without
Daniel, and
any
then I'll
proof.
pass it back on to
Yeah,
you. Just 2 seconds.
yeah,
An
yeah, yeah. I'm
acceptance
just
that
following what
something
you're saying.
exists, an acceptance that something exists or is true, especially one without proof. The dictionary
Which
definition
is
of
what I
belief.
just said. So the thing is, that doesn't mean that it's that. So this is why I don't deal with belief. I like to deal, but don't get me wrong, because we're such powerful beings, right? This is what people don't realize. Every one of us is powerful, is special. You're special. I'm special. Every person is special, but they don't even believe, to use that word, that they are, because of the way that society actually sets us up, which takes us
Well,
back
it's
to
experience, isn't it?
school
If you have
and
a bad
everything.
experience, that's gonna um, dictate your emotional response to an extent. If you're having a good
But
day, you're
your
gonna kind of feel
experience
good about
is
things.
your interpretation of that experience, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's
yeah,
our interpretation
yeah,
of the experience that happened.
yeah.
I
Of
mean,
course.
I was attacked by a dog, and you know and I got injured, without going into it too deep. Yeah, and
Okay.
my experience and how I dealt with it is the anchor to how I actually survived, got over it, come out of it, and was able to continue on with my life.
That's the
You know what
life's
I mean?
journey.
Yeah, definitely. Because, like, what's it called? At the end of the day, the person set the dog on me directly. You know what I'm saying? And it ate up my foot.
Okay,
Yeah,
not a nice
and
place to
and I,
be.
like, as I said, and I got other injuries and stuff like that as well. But
What happened to the
so
person
this
who
is
set the dog on you?
I end up getting 3 years in jail for it.
Okay, so they paid the price. It wasn't a good. At the end of the day, unless they felt it was worth it, it didn't result in anything really good for them as an
No,
outcome.
it didn't result in anything, which is great, and yeah, he's paid the price. So that's the main thing.
Yeah,
But the thing is, like, I don't care about that person. I care about how I dealt with it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? How I came out of it, and
of
and
course.
how I survived,
Hmm.
and how, or I should say survived, just to use the word survived.
Yeah,
How I came out of it. So it's my
yeah,
interpretation and the way you deal with the entirety of that kind of thing
yeah.
that makes you who
Who
you
you
are,
are.
and makes you have a higher or a lower, or whatever, a mediocre or an insignificant, um in your life, person,
Hmm.
how you feel.
Yeah,
So many different ways to actually look
about
at things
yourself.
like that. Yeah. Anyway,
Interesting.
man, yeah.
So today we've gone from um you could say education, our experiences growing up in a completely different era, 80s, 70s, um, moving to where we are now. And, we talked about the youth center thing, a lot of your perspective being a teacher. Yes, you're on the front line, you're seeing these changes firsthand, and you've lived through the whole story to date. And then where did we go to next? I guess we slid into a little bit of history talk.
Yep.
Dropped a
History
little
and the way
em,
that
em, em,
society sees
empire
things and
references there, and
empire
we've
references.
come
Yep.
round to more of a spiritual discussion, which is
We
probably
also went to who runs the world.
who runs the world, who are the movers and shakers. That's it. We did kind of opened up when we delved into the whole discussion on money and
Yes. Yeah.
how it affects a person whether they have it or whether they don't have it or have enough of it
Yeah.
or
Absolutely.
don't have enough of it, and whether it's something they're familiar with, they've grown up around,
Yeah.
or something that's new
And
to them,
and where their mind is at.
and where their
Where their
mind is at.
mind is at,
Yeah,
as far as where the significance of
the
their life
significance of
and their families,
wealth in their
around
life.
them, how that
Yeah,
relates to everything else and how they
yeah,
see themselves,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Their
in the whole ecosystem of what's going on in around them,
their personal view, and also how that is affected by their worldview. Two things
Yeah.
are constantly interacting. And
Hmm.
then I guess we found ourselves in the spiritual realm of discussion,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
always a big topic.
It's a huge topic.
Many layered, many uh, s- perspectives, individual opinions, stances, and even I'd use that word, beliefs, and
Belief. Yes.
mysterious
That's why he's gonna go.
aspects. When you enter
Yes,
that
absolutely.
realm, everything's there.
Yeah.
It's like it's everything's
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
table. Everything's fair game, so to speak.
It's on the table, big man.
So it's something I guess we're gonna find ourselves delving into again, because you can only cover so much in one discussion. But I
Because
found that very
that's
interesting, Daniel. That we've
yeah,
reached so
that's very
far
interesting.
in this discussion, and I
Mm.
hope some of our viewers have found it interesting as well, touching on some of these subjects. If there's anything you would like to
Yeah.
add or a comment on, or give us your take on, drop a line in the comments. And or if you want to
Yeah, we
speak
can
to us
take it up.
directly, if you have a question
Mhm.
for us individually, myself or Daniel, or if you'd like to jump on a future stream, or we're going to do a Q&A at some point in time, or a call in. So yeah, leave us your ideas in the comments, and oh, don't forget to like the video. That is a must. Share it if you can,
Absolutely.
particularly on WhatsApp with your WhatsApp groups. um and subscribe to the channel if you ain't already subscribed. But don't be shy, give it a try. You want to interact with us, tune into the next live, and
I like it.
if there's
I
an
like it.
opportunity for
Don't be
us to
shy.
bring
Give
you
it a
in,
try.
we will bring you live into the live. I mean, with myself and Daniel. So that will give a third perspective, or maybe even fourth, when we enter the next discussion. Daniel, I'm handing
Yeah.
over to you again.
Yes, people, love and blessings to you every time. Yeah, we deal with right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding, which gives you sound right reasoning, gives you a sound right level of knowing a little bit better. That's what I hope to put across, because I want to help as many people as possible. Owen wants to help as many people as possible
I love to
in
share
what's going on
knowledge
here. And how we
and
do
learn.
that is by sharing our lives with you, because our lives is every one of us is special. Like I said, every one of us are special in our own way. Some people think they're so insignificant, but you can do one thing and you can change so much. Andy Warhol talked about the fact that everyone gets a chance to get 15 minutes of fame. Yeah, but
Especially
we
in
know
this
that it's a
era.
lot more than that. Yeah,
Hey D, you
and
remember the
especially
phrase?
in this era.
Remember the phrase, each one teach one?
Yeah,
Mm,
iron sharpen iron. That's another
mm,
one.
yes,
Iron sharpen iron.
yes,
Yeah, we like to
yes,
use parables. You know what
yes,
I'm
we do.
saying?
That's
Iron
one thing
sharpen
you'll get
iron.
in the African
That's what
and
me and
Caribbean
that's
culture, full of
that's
parables.
that's exactly what
I grew up
Owen and myself are doing right here.
parables
Iron
left, right, and
sharpening
center
iron.
from the parents.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
They
Where,
were like, it was
Owen
like
is good with
music.
Owen is good with dates. Owen is good with
Powerful.
dates and times and situations and stuff. I'm good with history from another
Historical
level, history,
references.
history,
Yeah.
and certain political
And
references,
particularly the
social
African history
references, spiritual references, African history,
and
European
academic
history. We can
Africa.
touch on, yeah, we can talk. We can touch on all of that. Hopefully, we've got enough to keep your taste buds tantalized
Nourished. Well,
and nourished.
it was a pleasure, Grandmaster D.
Yes,
That's us for the
absolutely,
week. We
Grandmaster
do.
Owen.
Thank you. I'll take that with with reverence. Me and Daniel
Absolutely, brother.
are doing Mondays to Fridays here, daily live stream, generally in the evenings, where we're going to touch on, we don't know what subject we're going to be touching on. We're going to go in one direction or another or multiple directions. So we just start and continue. So if you want to tune in, like the video, comment, subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, and come with us on another journey on our next stream, probably Monday coming.
Yeah. And just to say, if you do want to learn how to do what we're doing here, yeah, you need to ask the question, because Owen has the full breakdown of how you can get to this level as well. Being an
We're gonna do
expert, there's
Yeah, we're
nothing
gonna do
that.
some basic tip streams on small channels,
Mhm,
starting a channel, and how you can try and get the best out of the algorithm in social media, which apps you
mhm.
can use for free, save you a few hours of doing that legwork yourself. That's
Yeah,
AI. That's AI is not really there to take anyone's job. It's there to kind of make your life a little bit more fluent in certain areas, certain repetitive
as long as you
tasks.
treat it good,
There you
as
go.
long as you treat it good and
Speaking
be
about good.
nice and say please and thank you.
Yeah. Speaking about
You know what I'm
nice,
saying?
I'm rapping with my usual, what do they call it? Call to action or something along those lines. And as I usually say, being here with Only Radio here at CornerSpeak, and be good, be safe if you can, be creative. Over to Dan Keck.
Be good, be safe, be creative, and make sure you tap into your right knowledge, right wisdom, and your right understanding, and you will succeed in everything that you do.
We out. See you on the next stream.